Steve LaCour from NHRA, and you're watching Dragway Memories.
Welcome to this episode of Dragway Memories. We recently had the honor of having Barry Poole at the Drag Strip Memories Show, and we sat him down with Bill for a few questions. Check it out.
Welcome to a special edition of Dragway Memories. We've got a very special guest with us today, Barry Poole. Barry Poole, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, and we've got a few questions for you, and we want to start with, you're a PEI fellow, and what made you want to come to Ontario in the first place?
Well, there weren't too many good paying jobs on PEI when I was growing up. So I went to Toronto just to do better there.
Were you a mechanic already when you came to Toronto?
Actually, it was a body man.
A body man?
Yeah.
Wow. So you were able to find a job straight away in Toronto?
Yeah, no problem finding work.
And then you were, the first things we recognized with you as a drag racer was your George Massacot's Ford. And how did you get involved with George?
Street racing.
Street racing? Oh.
Yeah, we were all street racers, and he had a new Galaxy 427, and I had a 390 Galaxy, and a friend of mine had one of those 426 wedge Dodges.
Yeah.
And we used to go street racing, and then George decided he wanted to race, so we started racing. And George, he wasn't a very good driver.
Oh, okay.
And one week he couldn't go, so I took the car and went down and I won. So after that he let me drive the car.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him, yeah. That family still owns that car, apparently. Not recently, anyway.
Yeah, he sold it at the auction in Toronto a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's too bad. That's a nice car. They kept it very well.
Yeah, he kind of restored it and did a beautiful job on it.
Yeah, nice car. So after George Massacot and his 427 Galaxy, how did you get hooked up with Sandy Elliott and move down to Chatham?
Well, at that time, Ford was promoting drag racing for the dealers as a promotional thing. And John Phillips, who was in charge of the performance program, Sandy called him and asked him if he knew somebody that could set up the car for him. And so he told him about me, and eventually I talked him into letting me race the car. At that time he had a guy that was driving for him, but he hired me and I took over the driving end of it.
And the building after that. That was 1966?
Yeah.
And so from 1966 to how long did you work for Sandy Elliott?
Well, I
In
worked
the
for
70s anyway.
I worked for him a long time, but we raced until 72. I guess actually the start of 73.
That's when you sold the Pinto and
Yeah. Well, I was hurt in a snowmobile accident, so
you could
decided that was time to
good time to retire. Yeah. So moving back a few years, you had some collectors. They were called collectors, and that was whose name was that? Was that Sandy Elliott's name?
That was Sandy's daughter that came up with the name.
She came up with the name collector. Very, very cool name. So when you started racing in the States, pretty much right away, or was it?
Yeah, we did some racing in the U.S. Went to the Nationals that year in '66 and did reasonably well. I think we got to the semifinals. It was a big class because all of the
factory cars were there?
like the GTOs and the 442s.
Oh, okay.
36 cars in the class.
Wow, just in the class alone?
Yeah,
Wow. You did real well there.
so we got down to the last 4 cars.
Here's some action from 1989 at Cayuga Motorsports Park. Blue rear engine dragster getting backed up there by a crew member.
Here in 1989 at the track, that's me in the blue hat there and the mullet.
Notice the double Arbico guardrail still.
Can't,
Tower in the old spot.
can't remember who's driving this car. I should, but I don't. Cliff Satursky in the other lane in the Pilgrim. That car's been brought back to life by Mr. Van Balen. We'll see it this year at the track. The starter, Eddie Nash, aka the Rain Man. He was our starter back then. And his lovely wife, Monique, have moved up north to raise their children, which by now are probably already raised. It's been 30 years.
Mark Minican and then the red Firebird.
Up against Bobby Mountjoy. Bob and Edie Mountjoy ran this front engine dragster for a number of years. And the 440 CUDA of Mark Lawrence up against Wayne Sipos, we believe. I'm not too interested down there, I'm just staring and looking around. Must have only had a few rolls of film that day.
Lawrence still has this CUDA in much the same condition as you see it here, still lovingly raced. Hope to see them out this year again.
In the RCSS Race Cayuga Sportsman Series events at Cayuga Dragway. And it's hard to tell from here, but it's looking like Wayne is going to get there first. Yeah, I think I saw a light blink on. And this thing we just don't know much about, but it's certainly had some sectioning going on with that body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quite the narrow T-bucket there. John Wright from Mopar. Top sportsman car.
LJ chassis built machine. And a motorcyclist, I believe it's a Suzuki. That's about all I can tell you. I'm not sure the rider. I'm sure somebody will know. Jeff Veal. Unbelievable what he started in.
Yeah, small block Chevy powered 29 or 30.
Chevy Coupe.
Up against the unknown yellow
Fish.
Barracuda.
Yeah, the fish. Jeff now has a 270 odd mile an hour nitro alcohol injected dragster. And through the smoke comes Bobby Stoll up against the Pontiac in the Dancing in the Dart car, still being run today. The late Bobby Stoll. His wife has kept the car and it's still out there today.
Still out there today with Johnny Terzic.
Yeah,
At the helm.
runs well, wins rounds.
Yeah.
Won that round. AMC Gremlin.
Don't know much about this guy.
No, I was always kind of partial to AMC's. Owning one will do that for you. Well, not Gremlins so much, but they do make neat race cars, and Wally Booth had a real cool pro stock Gremlin.
There they go. GTO or Pontiac Le Mans, something like that.
Yeah. Giving him everything he can handle. Towerside takes it. And this yellow machine, I'm not sure, but I seem to recall Mark Benner owning it for a while. I think it came out of the Gulf Station in Cayuga.
Falcon versus Camaro. I don't know much about either car.
No, neither. Just another day with a tailwind at the track. Photographer's bane was tailwinds. Dave, which I can't remember your last name, with the 65 Dodge. Nice guy.
I guess a Blue Nova, looking quite good as well.
Yeah, it was a nice looking Nova, as I recall, professionally done.
John Rossiter's hardcore parts sign in the background as well as the tower.
Yeah, another guy that was at the Dragstrip Member show.
Yeah.
And Dave honking on down there. Uh-oh. What do you got there? Pete Van Balen in the far side Monte Carlo. Up against the Beaumont. Steve Beaumont trying to catch that big block Monte Carlo. Don't think he was going to do it. Pinto and Mike Berry. Forget the guy's name in the Pinto. Brian something. Brian something.
Yep.
It's been 30 years, folks. And here she comes.
Charlene left.
Yeah, that's Vern in front there. Her father, son, telling her how to do the burnout. In the other lane, Bobby Hanna. In his Freddy's Revenge machine. It wasn't called that then, but it's originally owned the car. It was Freddy, Red Dog's dad. And Charlene cut her teeth on this car in a 55 Chev called Big Bopper.
Yeah. Ready to race.
Yeah. She practically grew up at the drag strip with her family racing so much, and it's understandable where she is today. Alright, so Bobby does something Bobby doesn't usually do. He backs out and puts the front end down and says, you know what, Charlene, you go. I don't think it was eliminations, but who knows. I'll have to ask Bob next time I see him, or Charlene, if she remembers. Warren Action Jackson. The late Warren Action Jackson in his Arrow. He had many, many race cars. Up against Jerry Toll. Jerry painted his car white one year, the Duster, and let his wife Sue drive it. And they went to the Bragapanos in Maryland with it and all that. But I think that's Jerry in the car up against Action Jackson in the Mopar. I'm not exactly sure, but I think this is Tyson Gary on the tower side there on the Malibu. Up against one of the Renwicks in the Storm Morning Duster. Neil Renwick, or one of them.
I know there wasn't Neil Renwick, so it could be him. Unknown Camaro here.
Yeah.
This looks like a Camaro.
Yeah, it's a Camaro. Sometimes they fool you with a Camaro front end on the Firebird, but
Back,
that looks Camaro-like.
it does look like the real Camaro. Who it is, we don't know, so if anybody out in Viewerland can help us out, we'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Always looking for more footage as well. If you've got any, we'd like to see it.
Absolutely. We'll put it on digital for you. Look after it. And give us the right to use it on Dragway Memories. All right, we're getting down to the end here with this Pontiac Duster action here. I want to remind everybody we'll be back next week on Dragway Memories. See ya soon. Photos, I have photos, I have photos. Don't I go?
Let it all
Cayuga.
You're giving me wind and rain.
That's all for this week's edition of Dragway Memories. Thanks for watching.
And remember, hook hard, go straight, don't be late, and may your God bless you. See you next week.